Okay, the learning outcomes. Well, as you can see from the handbook, there are 4. I'm just going to briefly talk through the learning outcomes and give you some sense of what the expectations are in relation to each of the outcomes. So the first one, demonstrate the ability to apply theory of sport and exercise psychology in a critically analytical manner to sport and exercise situations. Might sound quite simple. You see an event, a sporting event or an exercise experience, and the question is, well, how might your knowledge of sport and exercise psychology contribute to your understanding of what's going on, what's happening there. An example from a sporting context might be certainly one that happened recently for me, one where there is a huge expectation on a particular team to win, and what happens is they go out and play with the weight of this expectation, if you like, or not, but they go out there and they collapse. They start off well, and halfway through the game just falls apart. The game plan goes completely out of the window. So the question there would be, is there any way from a psychological perspective for us to understand that further? And clearly, one of the first things you might latch onto is catastrophic thinking, collapsing under pressure, and so on. So you would be able to refer to theory, to look at what's going on out there in the theoretical material and say, well, that's actually contributing to our understanding, our possible understanding of what we're seeing, what I've just seen. And the additional element relates to the second of the outcome, which is about reflective practice, and how you're expected to demonstrate a growing skill, if you like, in reflecting on the experiences that you have in relation to this module. We spent some time in the induction looking at reflection, and those slides and that information is on Blackboard, so you should be able to use that. And both our expectation, James and I both hope and expect that as you develop your skills in relation to this matter, as you begin to reflect, as you get a sense of what it is you might be looking for, as you become familiar with the material that's out there, the research material, the text, the papers and so on, that your skill will grow, and your reflective abilities, one hopes, will be different at the end of this module than they were at the beginning. And so that's, and one of the great things about that, I suppose, it's a generic thing. The reflecting on practice is an expectation in many different settings now. And the last of the learning outcomes, because I've dealt with 2 and 3 in what I've just been saying, refers to a reflective awareness of your own strengths and weaknesses. That as you work your way through the module, you will start to get a sense of, well, yeah, I did that really well, or I did that better than I did before, or that could, on reflection, I could have done something different. It perhaps wasn't as strong as it could be, and that level of honesty and insight, and using your sort of reflective stroke descriptive powers to give us a sense of what was going on, is, again, it's a generic skill. But you're using that skill in relation to working through this particular module. So those are the 4 learning outcomes, if you like. Demonstrate the ability to apply theory of sport and exercise psychology in a critically analytical manner to sport and exercise situations. Demonstrate a critical understanding and awareness of reflective practice and its application in sport and exercise psych. Demonstrate increasing levels of insight into psychological processes in the working context, and demonstrate a reflective awareness of your own strengths and weaknesses. So I hope this has been useful.